Expansion ideas. Expansion ideas consist of additional colonists, additional merchants, faster colonists, organised recruitment, additional diplomats, improved shipyards, competitive merchants, and the finisher. So, what does additional colonists do? It gives you an additional colonist. Not terribly surprising there. When do you use it? You use it when you want to start a larger number of new colonies or to colonize without running into the extra cost involved for exceeding the colony capacity. You use it when you can colonize land but you don't need to explore it first, or else if you already have exploration and you want to boost your colonial expansion rate up by getting this extra colonist. So it's not terribly useful in the New World because you're likely to have to explore there unless you are already a Native American nation. It can still be very useful for certain Africans and Asians, especially the Southeast Asians, and Russia, although they have access to the Siberian frontiers method for getting colonists, so it's a bit counted there. But the Southeast Asians and Africans, many of these can use this colonist usefully without needing to explore. Additional merchants provides an additional merchant. When are you going to use this? How do you use this effectively? Well, you use it to have an extra place to collect trade or for steering trade. However, there are many other sources of additional merchants in the game. For example, the +1 colonist idea, the previous idea, would allow you to form colonial nations, and every single colonial nation could provide you with one merchant. So that single idea for extra colonists could provide you 10 or so extra merchants, whereas this single idea could only provide one merchant. So, yeah, it doesn't seem quite as good as the colonist idea. You can also get extra merchants from completing certain decisions or having dominant control in a trade company region. And, well, honestly, if you're a blobby style player rather than a very tall style player, it's much easier to make the argument that the best way of controlling the trade flow is just by owning all the land, not by using more merchants. What does faster colonists do? It lets your colonies grow faster, unsurprisingly. How do you use this effectively? Well, a colony which finishes faster forms faster into a colonial nation, because you can finish 5 provinces in a zone quicker and then it becomes its own country, its own little colonial nation. This possibly lets you beat other nations to getting the papal approval for a region. It's also worth pointing out that this is an economic boost, because colonies which finish faster start to return you money quicker as they grow quicker. It's also worth mentioning that this allows you to island hop to distant locations more quickly. Maybe you're trying to get to Mexico and the Incan regions for the gold, the sweet, sweet gold quicker, or maybe trying to get to Kilwa for the same region, or to highly valuable trade regions such as India and Indonesia quickly. Well, if your colonies finish quicker, you can island hop to those locations quicker. And this idea will help with that. Organised recruitment. What does it do? Your units train faster. Usage cases. Well, you use it when recovering from a stack wipe more quickly, so you still look strong, I guess. I mean, hopefully you're not getting stack wiped, but that is a use. And it makes cannons take a smaller fraction of forever to build. But other than that, it's a pretty weak idea, as far as I'm concerned. What does additional diplomats do? It doesn't actually provide you with an extra diplomat, but rather with an extra diplomatic relations slot. How do you use this? Well, you use this ideally either to have a great big ally so that no one ever wants to attack you because of your ally, or it lets you have an extra vassal, an extra subject. Improved shipyards. Ships recruit faster. When do you use this? Well, much like the recruitment time for land units, I guess you use this when you've just been navally stack wiped, or, at least for me, sometimes I forget to have a transport fleet in the location I need it, and this can be used to help minimize the time between wishing you could transport somewhere and actually having the transports available to do so. Competitive merchants, plus 20% global trade power. What does it do? It provides you with plus 20% global trade power, which basically boosts every single thing to do with trade power by 20%, except for upstream propagation of trade power. When do you use it? How do you use it effectively? Well, you use it to get more complete trade control in a node where it isn't diplomatically feasible to eliminate the competition via warfare, to just directly take the land that's allowing them to compete with your trade power. or where the use of extra trade ships isn't a good idea because you're running into your naval force limit limitations elsewhere because you want to run a merchant. You don't want to be running a merchant fleet because you need an actual warfare fleet or a transport fleet. And so you can't use a naval fleet to increase your trade power instead of using this idea. And finally, the finisher. Well, what does the finisher do? It lets you fabricate claims in overseas trade company regions. How do you use this effectively? You use this effectively by no longer needing sea tile adjacency to fabricate claims in trade company regions, which allows you to bypass the normal need to island hop nearby to where you want to get, spend time fabricating a claim adjacent to them, and so on. Instead, you can just go straight from wherever you are to wherever you want to go, as long as you've still got coring distance. This can be useful for forming beachheads in India and Africa in locations without needing to colonize an island off of their coast, or needing to resort to no CB wars or holy wars. It also allows you to be very opportunistic in ways that might not normally be possible because you aren't able to get a CB. So as an example, imagine you're some colonial power, Spain, France, England, and you see that Kilwa's getting the crap beaten out of them because they've decided to ally, say, the Mamluks, and the Ottomans are smacking them about a bit. Normally, you might have to wait a year and something for a colonist to be sent out near Kilwa. That's if there's even a colony next to Kilwa still available, and you'd have to wait for your spy to develop a claim there. Well, this way, you can develop a claim there without needing to wait for the adjacency. So this lets you generate a claim and dogpile on people while their allies might not honour, while they have low manpower because they've just been being beaten up in another war. It lets you be very opportunistic in your expansions in a way that basically nothing else in the game lets you do up until imperialism is unlocked. So the finisher is quite strong, even if many of the other ideas so far have been weak. So as a summary, although it has a couple of ideas with reasonable bonuses for colonization, it's generally outperformed in terms of colonization by the exploration idea group. However, sometimes it can be worth taking just the first idea for the extra colonists for a while to avoid incurring the cost for running over the colonist cap, and then abandoning the idea group later, after you've spent 20, 40 years of having an extra colonist. The two recruiting time ideas sadly reduce the overall strength of this idea group rather significantly, but the finisher, with its ability to fabricate claims on the other side of the world without any need for adjacency, is a bonus that should never be underestimated, and if a player is an observant and sufficiently opportunistic, they will be able to make very good use out of that bonus.